Hi, everybody. Welcome to the end of year roundup for the
Wrap up,
OVACAST.
not round up.
Wrap up.
Well, I guess it could be called a roundup. So when you guys are seeing this video, it will be. I put these up on Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, right?
I think so.
The 5th of January. So your new year has already come and gone. But when we are filming this or recording this, it is the 29th of December 2024. This is as close to the end of the year as we can get because Nick works for New Year's and New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Which I think is like no, it's probably the second time you've done that. Well, we used to do it all the time, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
since we've moved, I think.
No, one thing, if you guys know, when you have dogs, New Year's and
4th of
4th of
July.
July are awful in terms of, because the fireworks set off the dogs so bad. We're very fortunate in that our area doesn't have too many fireworks, but it still does happen, and it's tough sleeping those nights. I wish there was a better way to celebrate those holidays than fireworks, but there are people who do like fireworks, and they have the right to enjoy fireworks in a safe way, and we have the right to have the dogs.
Yeah.
But everybody's
But we
different.
turn on the air conditioner, like the fan mode, like really loud, and then we turn on like another fan by the bed, and like we try to keep it as noisy as possible. We haven't really had a lot of problems with not being able to sleep or anything like that. Let me turn this fan off.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it was by the mic or too much.
Oh, I moved it, so it's
Oh,
pointing
okay.
at me because sometimes I'll get a little warm. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about some resolutions that we have for the coming new year. Not necessarily resolutions, but maybe more like goals. Because I feel like if you say this is my New Year's resolution, these are things that if they would get done would be nice.
Yeah.
So my first one is to start the intermittent fasting. And basically what I want to do is I want to stop eating at 5. We were doing so well at that.
Yeah, and even when we fell off, we got close to it. Like it
Yeah,
was
we've
by
always.
5.
I think like the last couple of nights have been the worst. Like I think last night we didn't eat till like 6 something, and tonight we were done eating by like 5. Well, I was done eating by
Yeah.
like 5:30 or so. But I want to get back to like the more strict, as close as we can get to 5 as possible. Because I feel like when you say things like we have to stop eating at 5, like if it ever happens where you like eat at 5:04 or 5:30, then you're like, oh well, fuck it, we'll just do whatever we want. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. We're trying to be less black and white people, like, and more like, okay, it's okay if you didn't do it today, but tomorrow you just get right back on the horse
Right.
and, you know.
I think what I trap I fall into is when I get home, if I have to take out the trash or do the dishes or something.
Yeah, then it's gonna
I
be later.
I try to get that done first,
Yeah.
then relax and eat. But I could eat and relax a little bit, then
I
go
think
back
it's
to
more
it with
realistic
supper.
the way you do it, though.
Yeah.
I think it's more realistic for us to just be like, okay, on Wednesdays and whatever the other day is, if we just on those 2 days, well, here's the thing. Really, it's only Wednesday because the other day you're off work.
Yeah.
So we don't really need to worry about that day because you can do it earlier in the day and then eat and be done by 5.
Yeah.
But like when you're like, okay, well on Wednesday, then that's the one day that we can eat after 5.
Yeah.
You know, that's okay. Because I think what it is you and I, once we eat dinner, we're done for the night. Like, we literally, like, every
Yeah.
night, whether it's a weekend, a weekday, whatever, once we've had dinner, it's like, okay, we're not doing anything else. Like, I literally just made a sale on eBay. I'm like, I am not going outside. Like, I am off work. Like, you know,
You
you
get
just
into
don't.
that mindset of you're
Like,
gonna
I'm
wind
gonna
down.
wind down. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I'm gonna get my iPad charged so that I can read or whatever. You know, I'm just not in the mood to be like, okay, well now we gotta go do the dishes or because I feel like once you get up and you're going again, then you're gearing up to do something else, and it's
Yeah, it's tough to get away from that mindset once you're relaxed and you're eating to all of a
yeah,
sudden now you have to do all these tasks
yeah. Like
afterwards.
okay, now I have to take out the trash and do the dishes. So, what's one of your resolutions for the year or goals? Do you have
Um,
any?
well, the one goal I had for this year I did, which was build the computer. That was a big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy and so excited. The last piece for a while is going to be on its way, which is the graphics card. I got the budget RX 7600. I thought about getting the XT with the twice the RAM, but from what I've been reading and stuff, the memory bus and various other things make it not worth it. And the next step up from there was the RX 77 XT or 7700 XT, but it was too high in price at right now. So my plan is use the RX 7600 for another year or two, and then eventually upgrade to 1440p monitor, and then get probably the 7800 XT, which is a really good 1440p graphics card. In 2 or 3 years, get that, save up for that. But the new graphics cards are coming up in Consumer Electronics Show early this January. I am so excited. That was the big goal I had. One of the big goals I had for this year, and I got it. And that graphics card will be the last piece for a while.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And I have been obsessing and looking at things almost every day, like graphics cards, going and debating back and forth. And sometimes I drive Michelle crazy, because if you guys know, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're super into something and you're being supportive of them, but you're not super interested yourself, it's kind of tough to follow along. But she's been such a great sport about being into the PC parts and building stuff.
Yeah. I got you stuff for Christmas you wanted.
Yeah, you did really good. She got me another storage drive, another NVMe one, so I got 2 terabyte ones. Each one is 1 terabyte. I got 2 of those. I've never had that before. That's exciting. She got me a DVD player and Tales from the Dark Side.
Yep.
It was a really good Christmas. I hope you all had a good winter holiday season, whether it's Christmas or other holidays. And but that was the big one for me that I wanted. Next year, I don't really have any big goals yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any that I might have. I do know we want to make improvements in the room. We were talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that today.
We got Connor a chair, and then you got the old chair. The old chair is really, really good.
Yeah,
It has good head support in it and everything, and we're thinking about getting that and getting new desks and stuff.
Yeah, again. And then, but yeah, we're thinking about getting new desks and moving the bed. Well, we should be okay with the bed if we get new desks, but the room is lived in, and it's like I was explaining to Nick today. It's like, it's utilization of how it was. It worked for what our life has been for the last year and a half. It's been the same way, and it worked great for that. But it's like, as you grow, as you get older, you're like, okay, this is, it changes. It's like, this is frustrating to me now. It's just like, this room now is different than the room you had when you were a kid. You know what I'm trying to say? So we were just talking about how we would improve it and move stuff around, and we do that a lot, but it'll get there. It's just me trying to figure out where stuff's gonna go, because Nick's one of those people, God love him, but he's like, it's functional, so it's good. Whereas I'm more like, yeah, but it could be better. You know what I mean?
I think sometimes I'll be like that. There's other times where, if this is irritating us on a daily basis,
yeah,
with the desks and backing up into the bed, the thing is,
yeah, that's the problem with having. I mean, we've always had the desk in this home. We've always had kind of this configuration, just a bed was in a different spot and a desk front. But it was always like this, where we're up against the desk. It's just I don't remember when it was the other way, us being as
as confined.
As confined, yeah.
And we've debated on many different solutions. We've thought about we're probably just going to get new desks.
Yeah, thinner, but I think honestly what the thing is we just are going to get simpler desks.
Yeah, just not as deep. The depth of the desk is not going to be as much. And then also, it's not going to have as many shelves underneath. It's going to be 4 post type of thing.
Yeah, we're talking about 4 legs and a top, and that's it.
Yeah, because mine, you guys can't see it, so I'll just try to describe it as best as I can. But there's 2 brackets on each side of it where you can either put, one is where you're meant to put your tower on one side. The other side is shelving, which is not really useful to me anymore.
Well, so not only that, but I feel like this desk, your desk, for instance, yours more than mine. But this is meant for people that don't have animals.
Yeah.
That can set, like, oh, I can put my books on that shelf, and I can put my, you know what I mean? Our monitor's on top of the desk because we have very expensive equipment, and I just don't want, I'm not saying they would, and maybe they wouldn't chew on it, but why would I give them the opportunity for me to be mad at them?
And hair and dust and stuff accumulates when we're in slower. Generally, you don't want to put your tower on the ground. You want it as high up as you can safely, and that's why we have ours up on the desk. But so that's what this was built for, and for a time it did work, but over time things have changed, and I like the way your desk is, where you have wider room for the chair to go into, because that's the other thing is she'll be sleeping and I'll be up on my way to get to work and eat and stuff, and I'll try to carefully, quietly roll in, but sometimes I bang into the desk because
the clearance for a chair under the desk is so tiny that it's like, it's not tiny, but it's very narrow, so it's hard to not make noise. And I mean, he hasn't woken me up, but I understand what you're saying.
So there's those daily like irritations of like this should be better, this could be better,
right?
And working on those to make it better. Like I try to appreciate something and make it last and make it try to get the full value out of it. But if it's not working, it's not working.
Right. There comes just a point where you're just like, you know, and we've talked about that and a lot about trying to not downgrade, but what am I trying to say? It's not called downgrade. It's called not condense. That's when you just get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just trying to make it a little bit more
easy to live in,
and easy to get around.
Low maintenance and
yeah. Trying to just unpile our lives, you know. But we have, what do we have to? I mean, this year has been great. We read Fourth Wing. We read Iron Flame this year.
Yeah.
Next year we have Onyx Storm coming out.
This is going to be great because when I read it, it was already after you're done.
Yeah, but Onyx Storm, we're going to be reading it chapter by chapter together.
And we can talk about it, and that's one of the best parts about buddy reading. Oh my god, what happened in this chapter? Can you believe it? That's crazy.
Right.
Whereas you were trying, it's like when you've seen a show or enjoyed any entertainment with someone else at the same time and you're discovering it for the first time, it's different versus someone who's already seen it. It's like, and trying not to give away the ending or certain spoilers or, you know, but they're excited.
And that's the thing too, is I'm like when, and there is things too where it's like things that emotionally affected me from the books that I was like, oh my god, and you're like, oh, I really like this character, and I'm like, dude, don't like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because you're like, I don't want you to go through the emotional turmoil that I went through with some of this. I was like telling Nick, like, don't get attached to this character. Like, I didn't tell you how they, you know, the end of the character came. I didn't tell you any of that situation, but I was like, because every time I talk about that character to this day, I start crying. Do not get emotionally attached to this character because it's devastating.
Yeah, this series is kind of like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones in the sense that there's so many character deaths. So many. Yeah. It's a very, very perilous world that these characters live in. And there's character deaths that are sad, but they don't last with you as much. But there's one that to this day we are still sad about. We're not going to tell you which, just in case. But if you know, you know.
Right.
And please don't spoil it for people in the comments. But
comments are all held anyway.
Yeah, Michelle knows who I'm talking about.
Yes. It was traumatic.
And the other thing about that is after this one, after Onyx Storm, the next release date is not till like 2026 or something.
Late 2026, which we're getting Onyx Storm early 2025. So we're talking almost 2 years. It's either going to be late 2026 to early 2027.
Right. And I'm of the opinion that I would rather err on the side of something taking extra long and it being good quality, because far too often something becomes a hit or profitable and all of a sudden it gets rushed and you kill the golden goose and all the inspiration and creativity gets killed out of it, and then it kills the whole series off. So it's frustrating to have to wait, but in the long run, it's much better. You're gonna end up with a better series by the end of it.
Yeah.
And now, something taking extra time doesn't always guarantee that it's gonna be better, but it makes the odds of it being better.
Yeah, exactly.
Increases the odds. But we could distract ourselves in the meantime after Onyx Storm. After waiting for that, we could read Sally's Lament, which is a twisted tale version of Nightmare Before Christmas. It's
Right.
basically what if Sally found the Christmas land and everything.
Do you have like any goals of how many books you want to read next year?
I do have one goal. I'm trying to finish the Bible by the end of next year.
Yeah.
I've got about 300 pages in so far. And there's like, I think 2,000 or something, if I remember right.
And I mean, he's taking that really slow. He's reading about a page to 2 pages a day. But that font is like,
yeah.
minuscule.
If I could go back in time, I probably would have got it on the tablet, just so I could adjust the font.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
And after I read this one, I might do that and just still keep it just because you bought it for me, so it has sentimental value.
Right.
And it's just good to have a physical copy anyways.
Yeah.
But I want to finish that by the end of... I suppose that is a goal I just thought of just now.
My goal for this year, 2024, because we're doing a wrap and a... Hurt Jack. My goal was to read 20 books this year. That was my goal. I read 42. No, 43.
Twice that
so I did 215% of my GoodReads goal. So I'm really happy with that. I will say the last read that I finished was by far, if you guys saw my vlog, you saw me talking about it.
Oh, the worst.
By far one of the worst books I've ever... If you scratch me, cat.
You guys can't see, but...
Jack is like touching my leg and he'll do it with his claws. But the last read that I read was... What was it called again? The Haunting by Natasha Preston. Go watch my last vlog if you want my honest opinion on that book, because I was pissed. It was the dumbest book I've ever read in my life. I literally went out and picked up all the books I have ever in there. I'm gonna sell them. Like, I can't do that again. But my goal for 2025 is to read 25 books, because I try to keep it, even though I think last year I read 50 books, this year I read 43. I just try to keep it like achievable, but still enough that I have to read 2 books a month. You know what I mean? At least. So my goal for next year is 24 books.
You're probably going to get way ahead of that. You'll probably get 40 or something.
Probably, but just to keep it realistic, I put 25. And then another one that I have that I want is to work on my consistency with stuff. So like I've been really good about consistency with vlogs. I came back and I've done 15 weeks of vlogs in a row. One video vlog a week, like one vlog video a week. Like a week in, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
A week in a vlog. I've done 15 of those in a row. I think I only missed 1 week. And I put a video up just saying I'm not going to be here this week. But I have done just about 15 videos in the last 15 or 16 weeks. So I'm pretty happy about that, because now the reaction channel I'm not quite as consistent, because that was just the nature of the beast when I decided to start it, was that I wasn't going to always be consistent. That was just the way it was going to be. But I think I could probably work on consistency, especially since I've kind of said I'm not reacting to that one YouTuber anymore. Or, not that I'm not reacting, but I'm not going to make it like a thing, like a weekly thing. I think it's going to be a lot easier for me to do them more consistently, because I can pick whatever I want, you know? And then my other thing was being more consistent with work, like with eBay and all that stuff. Just consistency in things that I need to do in general.
Yeah.
Like eBay, YouTube, all that stuff. Stuff I enjoy and stuff that's work, you know what I mean? And I also a little bit more consistent with our doing DoorDash on the weekends. Because it's like a running joke at this point.
where we'll set it up and schedule it, but then we're like, we just don't feel like going out
The
and
thing
doing
is
it.
I feel like if we were to say, okay, we're gonna do it on Monday mornings, we would probably be fine because you don't have time all day to be. Because here's the thing that happens is me and you do it at night. We do it like 4:30 to whenever we stop.
Yeah.
And the problem with that, in my personal opinion, is you've had a whole day of doing stuff. So by the time, and like we were saying, we usually are getting ready for bed by like 6:30. Now we're not going to sleep, but we're winding down. Pajamas are on. We're reading. We're in our, you're reading the Bible. You're doing whatever you do. I'm in the bed. We're relaxing by like 6:30. So by 4:30, we're already in like wind down mode. And there is no way that I want to go out in the car and be gallivanting around trying to find people's houses and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like if we could get morning shifts, but I don't want to do a morning shift on the weekend because I want to spend time with my mom too.
Yeah.
So it's just.
And also the consistency as well, because sometimes you'll get one job after another with that.
Right.
But then other
And
times,
it's great.
there's other times where there's gaps where you have to wait a while.
And this is the thing too, is it's like, for me, I always think like, yeah, I could go out right now and like you're saying and do DoorDash. Like we had a shift tonight. We could have gone out and done DoorDash. But then thinking in my head, if I have to sit there and wait for more than 10 minutes between orders, which sometimes we do. There was one time we started and we didn't get an order for half an hour and we just shut it off. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and do nothing. I could be here listing eBay or doing a YouTube video or doing the podcast or you filming your Let's Play videos or whatever and make more money than you're making sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Even if you're making 50 cents, it's better than burning gas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're paying to sit there.
And that's when it's frustrating. If it was like you talked about the idea how
yeah, I
it
think
was
I've talked about it on the podcast and in vlogs. If I could just get like, okay, this shift is from 4 to 8, and it's $50 base or whatever, and you get your tips obviously. But you can't decline an order. I would take it. I would do that in a heartbeat. But it's not like that. And I just don't like sitting around and waiting.
And if something like that ever does happen, then we would. It would be worth it to do it regularly.
Amazon Flex does that.
It'd be nice one day.
It's not. Yeah, hopefully one day we'll be able to do that. And then another goal I have for this year is to get a part-time job somewhere. Just 15 to 20 hours a week. That's it. Nothing crazy. But that's definitely a goal. I've been looking on a website like every day. I get the emails every day that tell you like all the new jobs. But the thing is I'm being picky. I don't think I'm being overtly picky. But there are things that I don't want to do. Because first of all, and I'm not trying to say this as like, oh, if you do this job, it's, some people like different kinds of jobs. I'm not talking down about any of them. But there's just stuff that I know I don't want to do. Because I've done it and I don't like it. And it would be miserable for me. And I don't want to be miserable.
Right. You're picking stuff that you know that you want to be successful at, that you wouldn't mind. It wouldn't be the funnest
It wouldn't be
thing.
the best job in the world, but I wouldn't mind doing it. Like a cashier somewhere or something like that. The things that I refuse to do are like, I don't want to work in an animal hospital because I know I'll get burnt out emotionally. And I don't want to work at fast food or like Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's or, you know what I mean? Because Nick was bringing up a job the other day. They're like, oh, they have a cake decorator for Dunkin', which actually I think it was Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
But it was one of those places, and he's like, oh, they're hiring for, I'm like, are you kidding me? And the other thing, too, is you have to know your limitations. Of, like, I'm sure that I can make a great cake for you or Mom or Connor, but then people are going to... It's like when my mom says, oh, you should be a dog groomer because I groom our dogs.
Yeah.
I groom our dogs because ain't nobody give a shit how their hair looks. You know what I mean? But if I was being paid to do the dogs by people that are not my family, there would be complaints. I do not do the best job. You know what I mean?
You do pretty good
like
for
the dogs
level of training that you have.
The dogs look okay. It functions.
Yeah, you do really good, Bull.
But it's not professional enough.
Yeah.
I know my limitations in that.
And even if you had training, you don't think you'd want to do that?
If I had training and I knew that I could consistently do it and people would like it, then maybe I would. But I just don't think I'm that good at it. I mean, my dogs come out okay. Pete always looks really cute.
She also
cuts
cuts my hair.
One time I accidentally I used to cut my ex's hair too. You guys have seen him on the vlog channel. Chris, it's been years, but I used to cut his hair too. And one time I forgot to put the guard on, and I shaved the side of his head like bald.
Yeah.
I'm not. Could you imagine if you did somebody that was paying you to give him a haircut?
Yeah, it'd be a bit stressful.
Stressful, yeah.
But you are by far the best barber I've ever had. You do such a really good job, and
Well,
I
you and
appreciate you
Connor-
every time.
You both, well, Connor doesn't want a haircut at all. His hair's like
He's growing
down to
it
his
in.
booty almost. No, it's not that long, but
It reminds me
it's
of
past his shoulders.
when I was close to his age. I was a bit older, but I had
Yeah.
long hair down to my shoulders too.
Yeah,
So
he has
it might be a
long hair.
teenager thing.
Yeah. I think it might just be a Connor thing. He doesn't want to get
Yeah.
it cut because he doesn't like the...
Yeah. But you do a really good job on cutting the hair, and if I'm really patient and I'm good, I get a treat afterwards. I'm just joking, guys.
No, he's not.
Because we were saying she cuts the dog's hair too.
You should have said I get a biscuit.
Yeah, I get a biscuit.
The way you said it was like, I'm going to get a treat.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant like I'm a dog, and she also cuts the
Oh,
dog.
you're a dog, all right. You're a dog. No. And then the next one I have is another like health related one. It's the no soda. Or no, not no soda. 1 soda a day. That's my thing. And I've tried to do this before and I failed miserably.
It's tough, yeah.
Because it's like you'll go to a restaurant and you'll order one just out of like, I mean, I don't go to restaurants that often, but just out of like habit.
That's tough when you're out and you have limited options.
Yeah.
I go with iced tea plain, but it's
The other thing
tough.
I should do, and I used to do this all the time, is to carry around like those sugar-free packets, like that have the flavor,
Oh yeah.
and just order water.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
then put the packet in it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I forget. I need to put a thing of those in my
In your purse.
purse. Yeah.
That could be a good solution. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I used
before.
to do that all the time, but I haven't done it in a really long time.
Yeah, I used to drink soda a lot, and I don't drink it all that much anymore.
No,
there
you
was
barely
there was
do.
that one I would drink when you got it. I can't remember what it
Oh,
was.
was it the fruit punch? I don't remember.
But I was drinking that for quite a while. My favorite though is ginger beer. I love ginger beer. I think there's an Olipop one that says ginger ale, and it has.
Oh yeah,
more-
you do like that one.
I like the one that has like actual ginger in it, and you get that really good ginger taste in it. Also, Bundaberg is also good. We're not sponsored by any of these ones, but
Connor likes the poppy.
yeah, I can't remember if it's Olipop or Poppy that has the ginger ale with the really good
It's
ginger
the Olipop.
in it. Olipop,
Olipop.
yeah. I get that or Bundaberg. Both of those are pretty good.
And
But-
then
But I
Okay.
don't drink soda that much, like once a week or once every 2
yeah, I
weeks or
drank it
something.
multiple times a day to the point where I was forgetting to drink water.
And so she's also going to go back to drinking Circles too, I think.
Yeah,
I got her
'cause
an
I have
adapter
a-
for Christmas.
Yeah, he got me an adapter that goes on your Stanley. And I was like, yep. That's what I'm doing. And then the last one, I haven't even talked to Nick about this one yet, is I want to try to save $2,000 this year.
Whoa.
And just have it.
Just as backup,
Just
just in
to
case.
have it.
It's good to have cushion money. I don't know, like, I prefer to have cushion money if I can. That's, like, it helps make me feel better about the future and be less anxious. If I
Yeah.
have cushion money to fall back on. It's easier said than done. But it's
I think, though, with the new plan we're doing as far as bills this year and stuff like that, I think that's going to be better off.
yeah. And you're doing really good on the eBay. I'm very proud
I don't
of
know
you.
what's happened. Those people probably have gift cards.
Yeah, that could be what it
That
is.
could be what it is, but I don't know. It seems like since after Christmas, it's taken off than before Christmas.
And our new setup is so
It's
much better.
amazing.
It's
That
so
is
much
one of
better.
the best improvements we've done to the business this year.
Yeah.
Was going from, because we went from when I first started this business, which was about 3 years ago. We went from having it in the living room. At one point, remember, it was over in
Yeah.
that corner. We went from having it over there to having it in a 8x10 storage unit, which was a nightmare. That was probably those two situations were probably the worst ones.
Yeah.
The storage unit was the worst, and I don't know if it's because it was big or a lot of the stuff wasn't in right now the way it is amazing.
Yeah.
We went out there today. We went out there twice, and we probably spent a combined time of 5 minutes actually finding the stuff, not doing other things. We found 5 items today, like nothing flat. Nick has the clothes so well organized out there that it's like you can go out there and find a shirt like nothing. And we were having so many issues, even having the shirts
hung up, yeah.
in the old storage unit. We were having so many problems, even trying to find the shit.
And it's much better now. We got a rack that we have all the different
that was really
bins
good.
On. And we might get another 2 more racks that are smaller on the sides, we're thinking. So there's even room for it to improve even more.
Yeah.
But it's already way better than it was before and much easier. And the fact that we have it so close by where it's much easier to get rather than having to make a trip just to get the thing in.
And I really do think that this year we really try to think about stuff before we do it. I think we've come up with a really good plan, because in the beginning I was like, let's number the bins, and then we number the bins and we're going to put this items in this number bin and this. But Nick's got it down to where it's like, these are shoes, these are bags. If it's a bag or a shoe, that's where it goes, and that works a lot better, I feel.
Yeah.
Because even yesterday, when I saw that one item and it said it was in box 13, I said, because it was a keychain, so let me check where the other keychains are, and it was there. I mean, that's the way to do it, is to just put it with, items.
That's what I was thinking, based on categories, because we were having a thing with the jackets, hoodies, and the sweaters, and I thought how to organize, and I said all the hoodies, if it has a hood, it goes in these 2 bins.
Right.
And then all the other ones don't have hoods, so if it, that way to categorize it and split it up and
it's been really nice to just be able to revert to default to you and be like, okay, where would this shirt be? Because for instance, I know if a shirt is majority blue, I need to go out there and look in the blue bin. But that shirt that I had that was for sale today was 16 different colors.
Yeah.
And so I showed it to Nick. He's like, yeah, it's in the orange or the yellow or something like that. I was like, okay. And he was right. It was in that bin. He knew exactly where it was. And he just looked at it because he's like, I haven't seen that shirt before, but if it's out there.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Because a lot of there's tie-dye ones or weird, strange color ones like that. I put in with the reds and the orange and the yellows.
But I guess, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a tie-dye one in there. I remember seeing that, but...
And we still have more room to go. There's other things that are not closed that we can organize better and stuff as we go, and we're gradually phasing out the boxes and putting bins in and stuff. And
it's just been
it's already a vast improvement. So I can only imagine when we do our wrap up for next year and at the end of 2025, how it's going to be by then.
Yeah. Because we have been working our butts off this year just to try to improve things slowly. Because it's not easy. None of this is easy. We got the new car this year, and we've had to try and, adapt to that. And the stress of that.
It's been a lot of stress, yeah. The extra amount in the insurance for a short amount of time. Luckily, that goes off after...
Yeah, but it was one of those things where I was like, because when we switched, when we said, okay, you're going to pay the car, I'll pay the other stuff. When we did that, and then it was like, oh, well, this is due. I'm like, hey, I can't pay that this time. You know what I mean? Because it's more, and I didn't even have time to even try.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing is basically taking all my eBay money and putting it in my savings, my bill money account, and then that's where it's going to sit until I have a bill.
And so far, I like this new plan that we have, where I pay the car payment and you pay the rest of the bills, and it's because it's simpler. I just have to pay that certain amount.
Yeah.
Each check, of the 2 checks, and then after that, I try to save up just in case if for whatever reason you're not able to, whatever difference if you can't make a payment on one of the bills, I can make.
Because the other thing is too is what you can do is every time you get paid, you just give me that money every time, and if there's an extra check, then that money's just gonna sit there,
right?
And that in the end, like there are some months because you get paid every other week,
Yeah.
There are some months where you get 3 checks.
Yeah.
Well, then you have an extra half of a car payment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, and that way, if there ever is an emergency, I'll be like, well, we already have the extra of this. We can just,
The one I am anticipating, and we could save up for to try to make the difference in what is tough, the toughest time is summertime.
Summer's gonna be a
Electric bill
bitch.
is crazy because that's when it's the highest for like 4 or 5 months or so, or 6 months, even in some cases. But that's the one I anticipate to be the tough season.
Yeah, and the thing with that too is it's tough then, but it's like in the winter, like our bill is not as much.
Yeah, our electric is way easier.
It's way down in the winter
It's
time.
drastically different in the winter versus summer. Summer is.
Winter has not been that freaking cold this year, though.
No, not yet.
Not yet. I'm sure we'll get it, but
We had some 30-degree weather days.
this morning I think it was 36 out, but by the afternoon it's like 70.
Yeah.
You know, people in Canada and stuff are crying right now.
Like, that's a warm day.
Yeah.
That's the day we wear shirts.
Yeah, because they don't wear shirts when it's less than that. That's the day we wear shirts.
Instead of wear shirts and hoodie and layer up, you just have to wear a shirt and shorts and go out. There's some people that are like that they're that acclimated and that winter resistant that they can just go out with a shirt and shorts in 30-degree weathers.
You can find the snowbirds from a mile away out here. Because they're all out here in their freaking tank tops and their shorts, and I got like sweatpants, a shirt, a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I like wintertime because you can layer up. And I've already talked about this so many times. So many times.
He likes the active layering to get warm instead of stripping to get cold.
Yeah. The relief from the cold is just so much easier to get generally, and it's more comforting to me than the relief from the heat.
We had a great summer last summer, though, with the air conditioner.
Yeah, it has been a game changer, having the air conditioner in the room. Because that's one of the toughest parts about summer is just trying to sleep in the heat. It's tough.
Yeah.
I remember I had a really awful summer where I didn't have any AC and I was sweating. I
remember that.
I would be soaked in sweat, literally soaked in sweat so bad, and I would wake up with headaches and my mattress would be soaked with sweat. It was awful.
Nick does not handle heat well.
No. And what I had to do was I had to get an ice pack, one of those reusable ones and I put it on my head.
You pussy.
While I went to sleep, and as long as my head was cool, the rest of my body could be cooked. But as long as my head was cool, I would sleep kind of decent. I wouldn't wake up with the headaches anymore. But it was brutal. But I'm glad I've never had to go through that ever again, thank God. But that is by far the toughest part of summer. When I'm out in it, it's not too bad. As long as you stay hydrated, protect yourself from the sun, wear the best gear that you can think of to wear, and that's the best you can do, really.
How many items do you think I sold this year?
300.
I'm gonna check right now.
This is Sparta.
Oh, you can only do 4 months at a time. Okay, well, let's see how many.
You could do that and times it by 3 for a rough estimate.
Yeah. How many did you say?
Times by 3.
How many did you say?
300.
I've done 360 items.
I was kind of close. A little bit.
Wow.
This time next year, you will sell 700.
I think so.
That is the goal for 2025. But I hope New Year's is coming up, and that's a tough one if you have to work the next day.
You do.
Because you want to be up to do the whole the stuff, like celebrate and kiss at midnight if you're a couple and that kind of thing, and
or kiss yourself. Who cares?
Or kiss yourself at midnight.
Or your cat. Kiss your cat at midnight.
It might be tempting, but do not drop the cat at the count of midnight.
Chucky, did you hear what he said?
Do not.
But we're gonna have a good. Next year's gonna be a good one. I have a feeling. I'm gonna turn 40.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, in some ways, we put meaning to things that are kind of random, but also not random. It's you can have either perspective on, well, it's just another year, it's just another, or you can be like, this is 4 decades that I've lived life, and
I didn't know we were going here. 4 fucking decades. Jeez. That's like I was looking on, I belong to this group on Facebook. They were talking about video games. This person was like, I just inherited some video games from my mom. They're really old. Somebody in the comments, guess what this person thought really old was. I'll give you 5 seconds.
the PlayStation 1 or
No,
PlayStation
they
2.
didn't tell. They gave a year. Like years.
Oh,
What do you think they thought really old was?
2005.
2000 to 2010. The people in the comments were like, 2000 and that's like 24. That's not old. And somebody else goes, I'm crying in the 1900s. Like, God.
It's one of those things, when you're young, you think anything 10 or 20 years ago is old. And then you get older, and then it doesn't feel like it's that long ago, even though it was.
But like 2000, okay, that's 24. All right, I can see how that would seem old to somebody. But 2010?
Yeah.
That's when Connor was born. It's only 14.
Yeah.
That ain't that old.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is there's this phenomenon where the more life you have behind you, the faster things seem to go, and the further, like, there doesn't seem to be as much of a wait in between things, because the time of reference that you have behind you is greater. Like, so, for example, like, when you're 10, 1 year is like 1/10 of your life at that point that you've lived. So 1 year seems to be really long in comparison, whereas when you're in your 30s and your 40s, 1 year, that goes by so quick.
I feel like this year, in the beginning of the year, I was like, it is still February. What is going on? You know what I mean? And then, though, once you had, like, summers, I felt like the summer was not as long this year.
Thank God. I hate when the summer drags. I hate it, especially if it gets into... I don't mind if it starts early, as long as it ends early. But if it's in November and it's still triple-digit weather...
Oh, we did not have that this year.
Or in the 90s, you know. But also, as you get older, you have less first-time experiences, whereas when you're younger, you have, like, the first video game you played, the first time you go to school, the first time you go to high school, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have so many of the same repetitive experiences that it seems to blur.
I remember when I was young, like, being anxious about stuff. Like, oh my gosh, one day I'm going to have to take my driver's test. And one day I'm going to have to get a driver, or not just a driver's license, but like, I would worry, like, to the point where you're like, you know how you feel that, like, dread in your stomach? You're like, oh my God, I do not want to go and have to do that. I found the older I've got, I still have anxiety, like,
definitely.
That is not going to change.
On a daily basis, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't have those moments of like, oh my God, I just wish I could turn around and not do this. You know what I mean?
There's sometimes I overthink and I stress myself out and I'm very anxious and I worry about stuff. And a lot of times it turns out to be nowhere near as bad as I think. And we talked about this before. It's usually the things that come up out of nowhere that you didn't anticipate that hit you. But another thought that I have, and I've been having this thought more and more often, is I think about all the things that I thought were going to be the end. This is the end. This is the thing that shatters the world, my world, and this is catastrophic, and you get through it.
Yeah.
Really, really things that shake you, and then you think, oh, this is going to be the end. This is it. This is how it is. And you get past it, and then another day passes, and another day passes, and another day.
And I think that too is like what we were talking about today.
Yeah.
We were talking about like mortality, basically, and like, you know, things are gonna happen, and people around you are gonna pass away, and I mean, my dad died, so I do know what it feels like. But there's other people in my life. I just don't want to say who it is, but you guys can make assumptions that are very important. Like every day in my life, see them all the time. That when something happens, it's going to be devastating. And I think the hardest part about that is it's going to be devastating, but I'm going to have to go to bed and I'm going to have to get up and live still.
And that's what people don't talk about all that much or that often. And it's a thought that I've been, like I said, that's been occurring to me more and more. You go through these catastrophic, earth-shaking,
Yeah. That's what that's
existential
gonna be.
things that shake you to the core, to your basic existence. And then you have to eat still. You have to wake up. You have to go to work. You have to do all this stuff. You have to live.
Yeah.
Life, you have to go on. Life has to go on. And you have to come to terms with it, and you have to try to make the best of it that you can and try to learn from it as best you can. But time stops for no one.
Right.
Life stops for no one. And if you can get through those things, then the other things, by comparison, that are stressful but nowhere near on that earth-shattering level, you're like, I've gotten through all the stuff, and I'm going to get through this too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to get through the next thing. And I'm going to get through to the end of my life. One day I will get through to the end of my life, and I will have gotten through it all, and I can get through it all. And there's going to be amazing times and fun times and happy times, and there's going to be negative times too, really sad times where you fail and you feel like you failed, and times that you are there for people, that you matter and that you count and you can help people. And there's times where you're going to disappoint people and let people down, and
Right.
you're going to get through all that. And just to try to be in the moment and enjoy it as best you can.
Right.
I hope I didn't ramble too much.
Even though it's really hard sometimes.
It's
Even
really
though it's
tough.
going to seem so difficult because people are making you mad and they say something and you're just like, it's like trying to just anymore, just let it go. And I'm the worst at that. That has been, I can give example after example of how I am the worst. I just being like, let them say what they want and just, because sometimes it's like, somebody will say something and you want to say something back and it's like, if you don't say it, it's like physically painful. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, there's times where people...
Where you really have to, I'm talking, you really have to restrain yourself.
Because I've seen so many times in arguments and debates, whether professionally or not professionally, whether it's in YouTube comments, Facebook comments, wherever on social media, people will be arguing about whatever issue. They can go back and forth for like an hour.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, no one's perspective has changed. No one's position has changed. You're literally arguing yourself into a circle.
Yeah.
And part of getting older is just realizing that the futility of that you're not going to be able to change the odds of changing someone's position is nearly zero, basically.
Right.
And you can get worked up and argue, but you're spending time that you're not ever getting back.
You're not going to get back, yeah.
And there's issues that can be important and you can be passionate about, but it's nearly impossible to change anyone's position on these issues, whatever they may be. It might be something that in the grand scheme is trivial. Like I don't like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. There's people that like those games. And I could make videos, and I thought about making videos, but the people that love those games will still love those games by the end of
it doesn't. And the thing is, stuff like that doesn't matter. And I will never understand people that are like, I'm not talking to this person anymore because they're like this and they don't like that. And I'm not saying. Here's the thing. I've had people that I've been friends with that they're like, I love, and I'm gonna give an example. And if you don't like it, too bad. I love Zodiac Academy. It is my favorite book series. I love it. Or I love Colleen Hoover or whatever. Or I love Natasha Preston, right? Let's say that my best friend Misty says, oh my God, I read this Natasha Preston book and she is now my favorite author. I would judge her taste and never want a book recommendation from her again. But I would never in a million years be like, how can you like these people? Because Natasha Preston has awful endings. Colleen Hoover is just trauma porn, basically. And Zodiac Academy is porn, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but here's the thing. If that's what gets you to read and that's what you enjoy reading and you're sitting down and you are consuming a book and you're giving an author a livable, what am I saying? A livable wage? Or you're contributing to them being able to do what they love?
Yeah.
Great. Colleen Hoover is successful for a reason. Lots of people love her books. I personally don't. Great. You know what I mean? I would never not be somebody's friend because of that.
Right.
Or I would never try and be like, how can you? That's horrible. If that's what you like, great. But I feel like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm really non-judgmental with people. Like, there's been a lot of people that come in there like, oh, well, this, or, they say this, that, or whatever. I'm super non-judgmental. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. I don't care. Gender, orientation, sex orientation, nothing. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Any of it. As long as you're a good person, who cares?
Right. It's who the person is and how well you get along with them and their personality. That's the most important thing by far.
Yeah.
More than all that other stuff is not nowhere near as important as that is.
And you would think that, like, saying stuff like that, like, and I'm trying to keep this, like, thought process going into the new year, is that you would think with that, you'd be like, well, then how come I don't have more friends if I'm just so non-judgmental and I don't care about... The thing is, I'm really non-judgmental, but it takes me a little bit sometimes, but I do realize people that I just don't want to be around.
Right.
Whether it's because, or one reason or the other, but it's never to do with anything like that. It's just, oh, you're not a good person, period. Like,
right.
There's something off, you're trying to be shady or whatever, but you're not a good person. That's why I end friendships.
Right. I think the other part, too, is if you're introverted, you really that person's company has to be better than your own solitude and the benefits that you get from that solitude, especially if you have a lot of social exposure as part of a job already, and that gets taken up a lot. For example, for me, almost every job is a social job. The social component is part of the job itself. And so after that, I just don't have hardly in a room. Whatever I have left, I have for family, for you, and for family here.
Right.
Then after that, there's just almost nothing left.
And I get that. I think I get it more now than I did when we first started dating. But I get it because I understand, because I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like, I would rather stay home too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I remember in the beginning, I'd want to go out, let's go do something. Now I'm just like, hey, you want to stay home and watch YouTube and play Terraria? Fine. If I want to go do something, I'll go do something with my mom or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Connor or whatever. And it's just having that understanding of the other person and just being like, because I'm the same way, whereas it's like there are some days where I'm like, if I could just sit here in a blanket and play Coral Island or Stardew Valley or watch color in my digital coloring book all day instead of go somewhere, I would.
Yeah.
Because people are exhausting, and trying to be nice to people are exhausting.
Yeah, it can wear on you a lot, and you just need a break from that and to do stuff that you want to do. Because there's so much when you're at a job, you're always doing what other people want you to do.
Yeah.
Almost constantly. It's always about that. And so you want to break and do something that you want to do. You want to do things that you find interesting and that is interesting for you. But I think that's part of it is, and also as you get older, as going back to letting people have different perspectives and not just spending so much energy on that, you just let other live and let live type of thing. If that's your thing, then fine, but that's not my thing. I want to do this.
Right,
type of
and
thing.
it's like I get both sides of it, right? I get both sides of it. I do understand a lot of both sides of the opinion, and if I don't, then I don't want to understand, because that again is some kind of social interaction I just don't care about. Like, there are some people that have opinions. Like, for instance, you had an opinion recently that I was like, I don't get it. But then I got it. It clicked. I understood. And I'm like, no, I'm on your side. I 100% understand what you're saying. But at the time, I was like, I don't have... And I remember saying this to you.
Yeah.
Because we were sitting in bed before I don't have the energy right now to even try to understand this. But then it's like somebody will say it a certain way, and you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Sometimes it'll be like that where you actually can shift your perspective or your stance on something if it's in the right way, or if you come to the right, you know, realization about it. Sometimes it can shift based on the information that you have. Maybe don't have all the information at the time, or maybe there's a reason that changes. And I've had that happen where I've had a certain position for a while, and then I find more information on it and it changes.
Yeah, because I've had, like, I would like to have more friends, maybe like online friends, and that's why I think I go into like Twitch and stuff like that. And like, for instance, I went into Twitch, I found that one person that was playing Coral Island because I wanted to know more about it before I bought it. And nice person, got on their Discord, very nice people, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's the kind of friendship I have time for. You're on Twitch, you're on Discord, I can turn it off. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I find myself, like, if I'm trying to be friends with somebody, friends with somebody, I do get to a point, and I've gotten there with my friend Misty multiple times where I'm like, I don't want to be their friend anymore. And I don't think it's so much that I don't want to be their friend anymore. And they know this because we've falling outs before for very short amounts of time. But I don't think it's so much I don't want to be, it's that I burn myself out on people.
Yeah.
And then my answer to that is, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And rather than just be like, hey, I'm not in the mood, I just kind of like go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be less like that. But there has been a couple circumstances where I went off because I was justified. Because they were treating not only me poorly, but other people in the family poorly.
Yeah.
And then I was justified in doing it. But anyway, in the new year, no soda and no friends. New Year's resolutions. How long are we gone?
56 minutes so far. I keep looking over on the left to make sure we're still recording, and also to keep an eye on the time.
That would suck if we weren't recording.
That's why I do that, because I've had recordings before, not on the podcast, thank God.
Yeah.
But I've had ones before where recording the Let's Play channel, and I thought I did a recorded episode. I didn't record the episode. And then you have to do it. It's really tough sometimes.
And I think another good resolution for me, and you've seen me do it recently, but we're just going to keep doing it, and like I was talking about earlier, is to just not do things that I don't want to do. And I'm not talking about like, oh, getting a job and stuff like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Me and Nick have had extensive discussions about it. That's not what I'm talking about. But I mean, like with the reaction channel and stuff.
Yeah, setting up healthy boundaries.
I'm not, and he saw me do it with the latest Foodie Beauty React, where I was like, halfway through, I even showed him the video. Halfway through, I was like, I'm not doing this, and I just turned it off because I can't.
And I was so proud of
He's
you
like, I'm so proud of you
for setting up healthy boundaries. Because that's what one of the things I was worried about when you said you wanted to get back into it again, was that it was going to affect your mental health again, and you were going to get to unhealthy. But now that you're setting healthy boundaries up and you're enjoying doing it, and I'm so proud of you.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I only want to react to things that I feel like I have an opinion about. And I was getting to the point with that specific video where I was like, I'm just sitting here watching it, and I showed Nick the 30 seconds before I said I was done, and even he looked at my face and was like, you are so checked out.
You were so bored at
that
moment.
I was so bored and so checked out that I got to a point where I was like, I don't know what she just said, and this is not good. So I just turned it off. Because it's not entertaining for anybody at that point.
Yeah.
I'm even pre-watching the videos at this point. It's not a genuine reaction. It's like I pre-watch it and it's commentary, essentially. Because I want to get to the parts that are entertaining. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
With like my Amber Lynn videos, like I want to get to the parts that I think are entertaining, that I have the thoughts on, instead of just doing the whole thing and sitting here silent for half of it. You know?
I think that's a better strategy, or a better way to do it.
It's more concise.
That way you get just to the most interesting parts, and the parts that are interesting to you the most.
Right.
Like I have make rather than filler where you're just there and bored and
yeah, because I didn't do one this Saturday just because of Christmas and everything, and I just didn't want to do it. But and I usually do it on Tuesdays, and Tuesday was Christmas Eve, and I just didn't want to do it, so I didn't do one this week. But I'll do it next week. But there is like a big controversy with Amber Lynn stuff, and I do have thoughts on it. And I can't wait to do that react, but I gotta find the video and where it is in the video because I don't want to go through her Christmas presents for her mother and all this other crap. Because I don't care. She bought her mom a bunch of shit off Amazon. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway.
Let us know down below in the comments. I hope
Your
your
goals
goals for next year, and then if you celebrate Christmas, what presents you had, or other holidays where you get presents. What
Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa.
Whichever presents you got or anything you're grateful for this year, and I can't think of anything else to say after this.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.